Here we are, Sean. Another Wednesday, another midweek record. We're getting a bit used to this now, aren't we? Recording in the week as well as on a Sunday. But let's tell people who we are. I'm the Dads with the Dads and Lads podcast. I'm Stuart.
I'm Sean.
And he's Sean. Perfect. Today on the show, we have one Louie Hartley, also known to his friends as Snapchat Lou. I don't know why. We might find out today. I think it's because he's young and he's always on Snapchat. But Louie is another friend of ours from the gym, and he's part of the Get Fit, Stay Fit. This is episode 2 of that series that we're going to do, try and encourage people back into the gym. Louie trains a lot of younger people when we see him in the gym. He's got kids with him a lot, hasn't he, Sean?
Yeah.
So today we're going to try and find out how he got into that, and we'll have a chat with him about how it differs training adults with children and how he has to alternate and how we can keep the children getting fit and we go into childhood obesity and all that. So sit back, relax, and make sure you enjoy this episode. Okay, Sean, how was school, Sean? Just while we wait for Louie to come in.
Boring and good.
Is it good?
We did that rugby tennis today.
You did rugby tennis?
Yeah, at lunch and break.
What's rugby tennis, mate?
What we do at trainings.
I don't know what that is. You have to explain it to
When
me.
we kick the ball over something.
Oh, where you kick it over the post and you have to catch it?
Yeah.
Do we think Louie's going to be late or early?
He'll say early actually.
It's all the time early at the gym. Well, we've got 4 minutes now until he comes on. So
Put
what
my
else
phone
did
on.
you do?
I turn my phone off.
Okay, good. That's professionalism 101. Any budding young podcasters out there or anybody on the radio or on TV, turn your phone off before you start recording. Well done, Sean. Well
I did
done.
it before.
Good lad. Good lad. So what else did you do at school?
No, I don't know.
I've been at work since 2 o'clock this morning. I'm absolutely goosed.
That way you have a coffee.
Bucket of coffee, yeah.
I was work. Where you went?
I just went to Leeds, mate.
Oh yeah,
I drove an empty train to Leeds this morning, empty stock. And it was so early, they made me sit outside the station for an hour.
You spare Friday. You spare Friday.
No, I'm off now, mate. I'm off. Off until Monday.
Dad?
What?
Can I go Friday and come back on Monday morning?
Go where?
Mum's.
I thought you wanted to watch the derby at home and do the podcast.
You know I change my mind sometimes.
Okay, well, do you have a thing to do on us? Every Sunday we do a thing, Sean, so it's quite difficult, isn't it, to do that?
Pick me up on Monday, Saturday morning.
Saturday morning?
Mm-hmm.
I can do that. Go on Friday, come back Saturday.
Yeah.
Now joined us, Sean. So we just let him in now. Are you ready with your questions and all that? Don't panic. There he is.
Hello.
Hello, you all right?
Hello, Stu, you okay?
Turn your phone on the side, mate.
What's that?
Put your phone on the side.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
There you go. You fill the screen better, that's all.
There we go, man. How's it going? You okay?
I'm all right, yeah, you?
Yeah, man, I'm well.
How's COVID treating you?
It's good, man. To be honest with you, I've not been too badly affected by it. I know a lot of people kind of have. I've had it over Christmas and stuff like that, and I wasn't too ill. I just sort of stayed in the house, stayed in my bedroom. No one else in my house got it, luckily. But yeah, in terms of everything else, it's just been a bit of a calm down, to be completely honest with you. Obviously, with work, usually everything's very much just appointments and back-to-back stuff. but it's actually been quite nice to kind of just chill everything down, focus on training, and focus on just making the PT stuff that I do the best it can be. So when the gyms do open, I can just kind of go at it and do what I need to do in regards to being a trainer and being the best trainer I can be.
Perfect. So just for everyone listening, you know me and Sean, we know you from the gym at J7, where Javino is the geezer. It's his gym, and you work in there. And that's how we know you. And we just thought we'd do these things with you, Badge, and then we've got Keno next, as just as a way of try and encourage people from April the 12th to get back out there and start exercising, because I know a lot of people have just been demotivated to even try and train during lockdown, because it's been hard work for everyone. I've got 100 kilograms of weights in my kitchen that I've lifted about 4 times.
I think that's the thing as well, that the gym isn't just a building where you go. It does give you that motivation, because, you know, you're looking at other people around you exercising. You're in an environment where it's just so natural to do those types of things. So obviously some people without the gym have made a lot of progress, and you can make a lot of progress without the gym. I'm a big believer in that. You can do a lot at home, but it's not so much the equipment that we're missing. It's the kind of community feel of being there, you know. So I think the gym opening is massive for that. For people's mental health, it's huge.
Yeah, because getting out of the house is half the battle, and if you've not got to get out of your house, then you're already losing that battle. So that
100%.
That's what I find. Still running that.
It's actually going to the building that makes you want to work out. You know, yeah. I say to people all the time, especially for fat loss. You know, fat loss is the easiest one to kind of achieve without the gym. So if you know, and most of the people in you know, the UK or whatnot, when you talk about getting in shape or whatnot, a lot of it's just fat loss. You know, we do have an obesity crisis, I believe. I mean, there's a lot of people who are overweight, and losing weight is really, in my opinion, nothing to do with the gym, which is a bit bizarre. But I always say to people, it's nothing to do with the gym. Losing weight is a really, really simple equation, a very boring answer, but it is literally just, you know, taking in less calories and exercising more. That is it. But what goes into that is why the gym's so important, because having the kind of motivation, like I say, with people around you to want to go and do an activity that's going to burn a load of calories. You know, it's easy to say, well, all you need to do is exercise, you know, more, so move more and eat less. But you go into your garden and do 100 burpees and tell me how you feel. Like, it's not.
I can't do 100 burpees in the gym.
But it's like I say, it's not so much the activity that's the issue. We all know the answer. It's being in an environment where you want to do that, because exercise is hard. It's horrible sometimes. You know, it's not the funnest thing in the world to do. Yeah. But being around people where you actually want to go and do that makes all the difference, I think. And that's why we miss the gym so much, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you've made massive progress. We've seen you on Instagram, and you've been training all the time at home and like a home gym and that. So well done. Like I mean, we're still running that, and we try and do bits. And Sean's been hitting the pads, hasn't you, Sean?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been trying to box and that, and keep moving while his boxing's not on. But other than that, it's not much. There's not much going on for us. But Sean, have you got a question there, mate?
Yeah. How did you get into the intro?
So how did you get into the industry, Lou?
The industry? So my journey is a little bit of a weird one. So when I was a lot younger, this is a bit of a long story. Is it okay right to?
Yeah.
If I go back to the start, it's easy to kind of chop it in and sort of tell you. But Javino always says, yeah, I'm the most athletic person. He always says that to me, because if you put me on a basketball thing, terrible. Football, terrible. Like I'm not the guy. I wasn't the guy in school with sports or anything like that. When I was younger, my dad was really into boxing. Like, just that's what he loved to do. He loved boxing. He loved hitting the bag. He loved watching boxing. And this was before J7. This was when I was a teenager. So my dad used to send me to the Body Matrix gym, if you remember the Body Matrix gym.
Yeah, I used to train in there with Jay.
Yeah, so I didn't even know Javino then. So I used to go in the Body Matrix gym, and in that second floor, the dirty room with the boxing bags, and that was where I was at. That I used to love that from being about 14-ish, 15 maybe. I was really into it then. And I met John Kelly. Do you know
Big
John? Yeah, Big John. So I met John Kelly, had a boxing class there. He didn't own the gym at the time. It was a guy called Colin, I think, that owned the gym. But basically, yeah, so John Kelly had a boxing class there. We used to go and do the boxing class. And I was training there with my dad as well. And then my dad actually passed away in that gym, in the Body Matrix gym.
Yeah.
So he was running on the treadmill. He had a heart attack. He passed away. And that as well was kind of like even more of a reason why I just couldn't let it go. A lot of people were like, oh, I bet you never want to go in there. And it was the opposite. I was like, I want to be in there all the time. And John sort of seen that in me. And he was like, one day he was like to me, you do the warm up. And I remember I was young as well. How old would I have been? Like 18 maybe. And he was like, you do the warm up. And I was like, all right then. And I stood at the front of class. I did a little, 5-minute warm up, whatever it was. And I just kept going, and I really liked it. And I was working, but I didn't really, when you don't have a specific job that you're into, you're just working because you need a little bit of money, and I just wanted to earn a bit of money to train. That was like the connector was that. There was nothing else going on. And then it kind of got to a point where the Body Matrix shut down, and I still didn't know Javino, believe it or not. I still never met. I think I'd seen him once. I went in there once, and he was like some angry music playing, and John was in there, and they were training. I looked in the room, and I just went, "No, I'm gonna go in this room." Honestly, them not used to train together, yeah. And when you're a young lad or whatever, you go into a room. They were lovely people, but you preconceived. It's intimidating. You look at them like Jesus. So I go over to John. I'd be like, "Hey, John, you all right?" And I just dust out of there. I didn't know him. And then so the gym was closing down, and I didn't know what I was going to do exercise-wise, not career-wise, because I wasn't a trainer or anything. And John was like, "Come around the corner. There's a gym there called J7. It's going to be opening soon." Or it was just opened, or there was a crossover point. And I was like, "Oh, I don't know. Maybe I'll check it out." But I wanted to see John again. So I went home, and then it was like a Saturday morning. I went down to the gym thinking, "Oh, maybe John's in there. I'll go and have a look. I'll say hello." And Keno was behind the desk, and Keno was younger as well. It just opened. And Jay was in there. Jay was he used to do a class. It was like a hypertrophy class on a Saturday, like sort of after about 12ish. So he was training a few lads in there, and I went in there, and I started doing a bit of bench press, whatever you do when you first jump in the gym. And he was like, and he looked at me and he was like, "Oh, if you need anything, just let me know." And he carried on doing his class. And it was like just about 3 or 4 lads. And I was mid-set on a bench press, and he came over and he just went, "Nah, do you know what? Come over here. You're doing biceps." I went, "Oh, I'm not, man. I'm doing this." And he was like, and he just got me into it. And then after kind of a few months of being around him, he was like, "Why don't you do this?" And so he contacted Phil, Phil Ramsey.
Yeah.
Phil works. So he works for a company called Focus Training, who sort of get PTs, their qualifications, get you qualified. And I was working different jobs, and I was like, I want to do this. And then I just studied my PT qualification, which is a great company, Focus Training. Very kind of made it very, very straightforward and simple. Send you all the workbooks.
Is it online?
What's that, sorry?
An online course?
It was partly remote learning and partly you go in. So it was over, say, 6 months. They send you workbooks. You kind of did it all. He rang you every week. So I knew Phil as well, but he'd ring me all professional, like, this situation. And then you go in and sit exams. So it was very, very good. I've actually passed that course on to a lot of other people, who wanted to get into working in this industry because they're a great company. And then I got qualified, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm a PT now." But then you realize that's not what it is. Again, there's another level to it. So it was like, you're a PT now, but then how are you going to get clients? So you still have to work and then try and get clients. And then I ended up training people for about 6 months for free. Loads of different people, friends, girlfriend at the time, her friends, her mum, and then other people from school. And I just kept training people for free. And I was like, I'm just going to learn it. And then I got a job working for David Lloyd's. So David Lloyd's, I got a job working there. And then that was it. I was like, I'm a trainer. And I just kept going, man, and just built up my clients. And I love it. I do really, really appreciate it as a job, because I get to do something I love to do to earn money, which I think is a blessing. It's a big thing for me.
Yeah, well, we see that he's all in the gym. He's all always just smiling. None of he's not pissed off to be there. The only people
No.
that looks annoyed to be there are like me. I'm just
Clients, maybe, yeah.
paying Jay's mortgage. But was there any, because you're only young, so you would have been even younger when you started, was there any
Yeah.
challenges that you found as a young PT getting like a foothold in it? Were people a bit like negative towards it because you were young?
It's, you know what, it's still, even now, I'd say a little bit, but not so much, because you kind of build up a reputation. And I don't mean a reputation in terms of people knowing who you are, but the people that you work with. If you do good things for those people, that's how it grows. You know, you only need one person to kind of go, yeah, you know what, I'm going to take a chance with you. And then they're going to get results if you're good at what you're doing, if they're dedicated to it. And then they're going to tell people, and then they're going to see you training people that are in shape, and it builds. But I think being younger, it also, I have no other kind of, if that's a roadblock, I have no other roadblocks, because I'm young. So because I'm young, I have so much time, I have so much energy, I have so much kind of, I don't want to do anything else. So because of that, everything kind of just falls away. If you're persistent, so my whole thing when I started was, I'm just going to be at the gym every day. I don't have a client, I'll be there anyway. And so that breeds so much opportunity, because if you're literally like, I don't have a family, and I do have a family. I mean, what I don't have is like kids, right? So because of that, you don't have anything, you know, taking your time away. You don't have anything else. And I think when you're first starting off at anything, you have to give it so much time for free, you know, not for money, just to learn the craft of it, I guess. And then as you get kind of more and more into it, you find that everything just kind of fits, you know, everything kind of fits. And I would also say it takes a lot of time getting to know your clients inside and out. You know, that's a massive, massive thing that I think a lot of people miss, that, you know, you're not really there to exercise the person. You're there to kind of talk to them about all types of things, and they need to be able to offload on you so that you can bring it back to what they initially want, which is their goal, and then go from there. You know, it's a lot of that. So it's a lot of like learning how to speak to people. Well, when you're young, you know, you're like, I'm a trainer, so you have like a bit of like a, I'm here to do this and count reps, but you're not. You know, it's nothing.
Yeah,
nothing
blow
like
a whistle.
That. Yeah, you're there to blow a whistle and count to 10, right?
Yeah,
that's how we laugh. Yeah, that you get your PT qualification out of a cereal box, like, you know, you're there to count to 10, but it really is beyond that, because if someone comes into you and they're dealing with real life, you know, they walk into the gym, you might walk into the gym and just be like, you know, I'm happy to be here, this, that, and the third. They might walk into the gym and they've had to deal with loads of stuff, and sometimes as a young person, people might perceive that you don't understand that, but you just have to get on a good level with them, but then make them, you know, understand that they've got to do this to get through it, you know.
I've known Jay about 10 years, and now he goes, when I can be in the gym and he'll say, what's wrong with you? And I'll say nothing. And he'll just always say, I know you better than you know yourself. Tell me what's wrong. Jay rang me up and saying, Stuart, what's the matter with you? I was like, oh, my wife's left me. Why didn't you tell me? Come to the gym. He said, you're not, just come to the gym. I was like, I don't want to come to the gym. He says, be in the gym tomorrow at 3:00. And I got in the gym. He gave me a big cuddle. And then he made me lift weights. He was like, just lift these I was like, Jay made me jeans, threw kit at me, and said, never come to my gym again without wearing a kit.
But
made me put dirty, wet kit on.
But this is the thing, that once you have that kind of connection with someone, you will trust him with anything. And if you trust him with anything, if he says to you, you need to do 10 reps on his, it's so much deeper. I do love that side of it, you know, getting to know someone and realistically helping people on the journey. I was thinking about this the other day, that when I look at my PT diary now, it's bizarre to see a lot of the same names cropping. You know, I've been doing it for years, but it's bizarre how the names crop back up. And that is really to do with client retention. It's to do with you having a good rapport with someone, and the next time they need that service, you're the one that they want to call.
Yeah.
So I do see that a lot, and people kind of reaching out who I used to train before, saying, when the gym opens, I'd love to get back into it. But it's very important, I think, to achieve that, you've got to stay focused. So you said before about, you know, you're training at home and whatnot. I see that as a complete requirement. You know, some trainers, I don't know, but I see that as a complete requirement. You know.
Yeah, I get that. So in the gym, we see you, like, because we see you about a lot. We see that you train a lot of kids. or younger people, should I say, the kids to me, but probably not the children, and probably like Sean's age. But is that a J7 thing, or is that something you decided?
Do you know what? To be honest with you, that kind of just it happens, but I love it. I'll be honest, my favorite client, my favorite client, and I will say specifically his name, but my favorite type of client for me is a young man. So probably around from the ages of 12 to 15, because I know how much I needed exercise. I didn't even realize at the time, but I know how much I needed exercise then, because you face so many trials and tribulations through those kind of ages, and the way you set up then is going to definitely form who you grow into as a 16, 17, 18-year-old, which is when you're really going to deal with life. But that 12 to 15 range, like my younger brother's 14 now, so it's a little bit biased as well, because maybe I see him or his traits in some of them kids. But honestly, when you can get a young man, I'll speak about him now. He's a very, very good client of mine, right? And I won't mind. So there's a young man called Reese, and what happened with Reese was his mum came to me and he said, look, he's being bullied at school, he's facing some issues, and he's overweight. Basically, they were the two factors. And you want to say, well, bullies are this, bullies are that, and this, that, and a third. But what you have to say is, look, I don't know about that, what's going on with them kids, but I know this: if we exercise and get you in shape, you're going to feel better. So you're going to feel a lot better, and that feeling better is going to give you confidence. You're going to lose weight, you're going to feel better about yourself, and then you're going to be able to deal with that, whatever that looks like, because kids can be horrible regardless of you. It's not necessarily you, but the answer starts with you. That's why I always think the answer starts with you. It's easy to say who's bullying. Like if my little brother came home and he said, look, I'm being bullied, your brain goes, who's bullying you? You want to deal with it. But if you do that, you kind of not fix the real part, which is you growing into a strong enough person to deal with it. But anyway, so he came to me and he was like, right, this is what it is. And he was very shy and not really sure about exercising and whatnot. And we just started exercising. We found what he liked, which is specific as well. Exercising is so wide a variant. Like an exercise could be you walking down the road now. It could be doing a high intensity type of thing. It could be boxing. It could be swimming, tennis. The exercise is so varied. Drives me insane. People say they don't like exercise, because I'm like, what don't you like? There's so much to do. But we found his sweet spot, which was boxing and like kind of circuit training. And we started doing that and we started working on it. And then he started running himself. And he was 12 years old, and he lost, with me in that, it was a 3-month period, we lost 25 pounds. And a 12-year-old, 25 pounds looked like a lot. So he really lost a lot of weight, and he overcame the bullying situation. I'm not going to say what happened, but he overcame the bullying situation. He dealt with that. And then he just so confident, man. And he just really, really changed. And his pictures will be on my page and stuff like that. Very, very cool kid.
He's on your logo. Is it a kid on your logo?
Is it? Yeah, I'm sure he's on my logo. Yeah, I'm sure he is.
With no top on.
Yeah. No, that's me with no top on.
No, I know that's you. No, it's always you with no top on.
Listen, it wasn't 12 months ago. 12 months ago, this top was glued on, yeah. Then, Yeah.
I've got that top. You don't feel it as good as me.
First.
Sean, question number 2 for you, mate. Fire away.
How do you have to change your approach when training young people?
Yeah, so a lot of it, Sean, to be honest, comes down to like the stimulus that they can handle. So you got to think, a young person, their energy levels are a lot different to an adult. So when a young person comes in the gym, I find they're a little bit more nervous at the start, and you've got to bring them out of the shell, because an adult will come to the gym and they know what to expect. Most adults have already been to gyms, or they've already been involved in training and different things. But the most important thing with especially a young man that I deal with, or kids, younger people in general, is building up their confidence first, which is very important with every client, but definitely for them to feel comfortable, to feel natural, and to find what they enjoy. Sometimes I think when training adults, it's a little bit like matter of fact. So it's like, look, this is what needs to be done. This is how we're going to approach it. And they like that structure. Whereas when training a younger person, you know, you've got to find what they really, really enjoy, because it's so easy as a young person to kind of go, I'm not bothered. I'm not bothered. And there's so many things distracting them as well. So they've got the video games, they've got going out with their mates, they've got this, that, and the third. An adult, really, when they say they want to commit to exercise, if they're serious about it, which is a big deal as well, but usually if they're serious about it, they can kind of come and just enjoy the gym session. Whereas as a young person, it takes a lot every single session to get them to go, I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be here. And once you get them excited about it, it's so easy, because they'll fall in love with it even more than the adult will, because it becomes like, what's the word? It becomes like an addictive thing, but it becomes like their little hobby, their passion, or their pastime. Whereas an adult might be doing it where they're like, I need to lose weight for this reason. A young person, that can become their whole lifestyle. So you've got to think it's so much more deeper to get someone to start exercising in their teenage years, and it sticks with them and they've got that for life. Whereas if you get someone who's maybe a middle-aged person or in the 40s or whatever, you know, that's got to build inside them from that point and then go, right, here's why we're going to do this. So I think with a young person, it's just about captivating the mind and getting them to really, really love it. And then the results will come. And it's a very, very long process, because there'll be times when they get into it, they might see a movie and they want to do this type of training, or they might watch a video on Instagram, they want to do this. Whereas with an adult training, usually it's a bit more like matter of fact. You know, they need to lose weight for the health. They know what's up. They know what needs to happen. And then we just go at it, you know, and they might do it for a period of months. They lose the weight. They feel confident to do it on their own. And then they go off, but they'll probably come back when they fall off the rails a little bit. Whereas with young people, you've got the opportunity to just go, here's all this amazing stuff, and they'll take it and they'll do loads of stuff with it. You know, when John started training boxing with me, he didn't think I was going to be a trainer. You know, he was just like, there's a young man who wants to train. But what he found inside of me was like, no, I want to do this forever, and I want to be like you. So we, you know, as young people, you go, look, I want to be like this person. I want to be like that person. And adults not really doing that. And adults kind of going, I've got all this stuff going on, and then I'm going to do this to lose weight. Whereas a young person, it can really be like that. You know, that's what happened for me anyway. So if we can have more situations where people are falling in love with exercise, they'll pass that on to their people, and as they get older, it'll become just linked into everyone's lifestyle, man. That's the main thing, just the mind.
Yeah.
I think.
I wish I'd have started exercising earlier than I did. I didn't exercise until I was like 30, because I was getting out of breath, chasing Sean around the park and running upstairs and stuff. So I met Jay on Twitter, and he beasted me into shape. But at the time, do you ever see that episode of Family Guy not Family Guy, American Dad, where the dad has got that imaginary training friend? and he's like getting pure skinny. My family thought Javino was just in my head, because no one ever saw him. And I would just talk about him all the time, and I was just eating chicken and rice and just losing pure weight. And they were like, that episode came on, they went, that's Stuart and Javino. And I was like,
an imaginary friend, Javino, yeah.
Yeah.
But this is what I mean, man. Like, you finding him and doing that would have, I'm sure it has impacted your whole direction of your family's life.
Yeah.
You know, it changes everything, man. Once you find that little passion for it and you go, I want to be on that side, you know, and that's literally all it takes. But you know, when someone's got on it, yeah, in your family, because like you say, they start eating different food, they start talking about different stuff, you're like, well, hang on a minute, what's happened to this guy? But, you know, it builds, man, and it impacts everyone.
People do laugh because I say Javino saved my life. And I say it in like I'm still fat now, but when I met Jay, I was probably the same weight, but I was mega fat. Like, it was ridiculous. My face was all puffy, and I filled up, and I was a mess, and I was out of breath getting upstairs. But so when people laugh and say, you can't save your life, you're only 30, I was like, no, because I would have just kept eating. And I remember ringing me mum one day, like Jay wasn't letting me eat burgers and stuff, and I didn't want to eat them, and I'd ring me mum. I rang my mum one day, and I was going up Factory Brew from my house, and I said, Mum, I've got an headache, I really need a burger. And she went, just go and get a McDonald's on your way to work. And I was like, oh, I rang Jay, and he went, Stuart, go and sit in the car park for 5 minutes. I said, why? He said, because watch the people coming out, and then do you want to be like you are now, or do you want to be like them? And he was just always like that to me. He just never gave me a let up, and he would just email me all the time, and he just never gave me a chance to quit.
But you need that, though, that kind of energy, because sometimes I think the people that we love, tell us what we want to hear.
Oh,
And
my mum definitely.
and yeah, and all our families, like, they'll sit with you and you go, oh, you're all right, you can have this, or you don't need to go gym today, because they do love you. But when someone cares about you and your progress and stuff like that, if they're detached from the situation, they give you the matter of fact, like, look, this is what you're going to end up like, you know. And just on that topic of conversation about saving your life and stuff like that, my dad loved exercise, loved it, but he never got the health aspect right. So he would train like someone possessed. He'd love training, but he'd eat bad food and smoke cigarettes. Yeah. And so when I got older, like, that's the one biggest thing now. I wish I knew all this stuff so I could tell him then, you know, and be like, look, you know, this is terrible. This is what you need to do now. And bam, 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 bam. But to have people now kind of being more into it, and the gym is so popular. I think it's very, very kind of popular, especially more now. But to have all this information now as a trainer, no one gets away with it. Like in my house, no one gets away with it. If I go downstairs and they've got the bad food, I'll talk to him. And I won't talk to him in like a way of, oh, why are you eating that, this, that, and the third. I'm just going to be like, look, you're going to be fat this summer. Like, this is what's going to happen. You're going to be fat this summer. You know, you don't want to be blah, 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 blah. And when I'm not in the house, they always say, like, they'll get the goodies out. And then I'll come back in and I just give them that head shake because I come in and they're eating this and that. And, you know, that is the most important thing to affect people around you, you know, I think, with knowledge.
You see, listening to that, Sean.
Yeah.
Eating biscuits and drinking milkshakes.
Is that what he's doing now?
Not now. He eats yogurts. No, he drinks milkshake like all the time. But I let him do it because if he forgets to drink a lot of the time, because part of his condition is he doesn't have a very good memory. So he forgets to drink. It can be hilarious, but also it's a bit dangerous. So he loves milkshake. So his fridge is always in the fridge because I know he's more likely to go and get a milkshake than he is a water. And I just want to keep him hydrated as best I can. Yeah.
Listen, you'll have to find alternatives. There's got to be some mixture where it's a milkshake, but it's healthy, or I'm sure there's a product for that.
I try to get him on these calm drinks, but they're a bit too sweet for him.
I've had, do you know what, actually, they have them in Nutrabar in Bolton. So that's right across the road from David Lloyd. So I've had them calm drinks before. I really like them, to be honest.
Yeah, the fridge is always full of them these days since they came on the podcast.
Yeah, they had a nice, man. Very, very good.
Right. So we have discussed earlier on about the kids, but like, what barriers do you reckon they have getting in the gym? Because when I was a kid and at school, we were always told, can't lift weights until you're a certain age because it stunts your growth. But I don't believe that to be true now, because I've seen Jay training children, and he's trained Sean when Sean was little, and he's trained Sean now. So what barriers do they have getting in the gym originally and for after COVID, when we were all allowed out?
Yeah, so I think one of the main things in terms of what you're talking about with the barriers, especially after COVID, is all these kids have been off school. So socially, there's a little bit of an issue right now. I think I notice it in my little brother as well, like when he's in the house. So my mum fosters kids, so our house is full of kids. Yeah. So they kind of have each other socially. But if he was in the house on his own, that is I think that's a massive issue, because if you've missed years of kind of, or definitely a year and a half of socially interacting with kids your age, there's like a little bit of a gap there in terms of just walking into a gym and going, hi, you know, I'd like to do X, Y, and Z. They're going to be a little bit more introverted. I believe generally, you know, they're going to have spent a lot of time on their own, and they're going to want to do stuff, but they're going to be a bit socially awkward, and a little bit, there's going to be some problems, especially for those teenage ones where they would be forming those social connections. So I think best thing for them to do is to go and get into it as quickly as possible, and go and start doing their classes again, and go and start hanging out with the mates again at the park and playing the football, or, you know, whatever they like to do. Go and get straight back into that as quick as possible. Because if they break that social kind of barrier straight away, it won't be as much of an issue. But if they kind of a bit, they're not sure, that can form their personality. And I think the confidence is the main thing. You know, a gym can be a very intimidating place. J7's not, but a lot of gyms are very intimidating places. If I think about just going into a new gym, I would be intimidated. Just a new gym, just a random new gym. If I would just walk down the road and found a gym, I would be intimidated because you go in there, you're not sure what the vibe is. There's always different. The atmospheres are all different. So we're very lucky at J7 that everyone who comes in there gets shown a lot of love, a lot of attention. And that's the kind of community feel that it's got. But generally for kids, there needs to be something that when they go, it's specifically for them. I think I would encourage any teenager or young person to find a class specifically for teenagers and young people so they can socially interact with people their own age. Because that is the biggest thing, man. If you can get a kid to socially interact with people their own age and find something they love, they'll never stop doing it. And they'll kind of grow up with them kids and they'll all kind of come up together doing something that they enjoy. Exercise-wise, yeah, it's difficult. I think bodyweight training is definitely where I would put most of my emphasis if I'm training a young person. So bodyweight squats, bodyweight press-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, all ab workout, and then something they like. So that all that kind of stuff can be like circuit training, and we will use equipment, but I'd just stay away from kind of the heavier weight training stuff until they get a bit older, maybe 16. So they can use weights to do certain movements, because a weight is just another training stimulus. But in terms of like squatting and benching and deadlifting, I would do that heavy later. But you can form a fantastic exercise program with a lot of body weight movements and a lot of stuff that they enjoy. So whenever I'm training a young person, it's about 50% of it's graft, but 50% of it's fun. So for instance, with boxing, we're going to do pads, which they might find fun, but then we're going to do like a bodyweight circuit, which they might find a bit tough. Then we're going to do like touch sparring, which they might find fun, but then we're going to do running outside, which might be a little bit tough. Then we're going to do this, and I just go back and forth. And, before long, the harder stuff gets a bit more, but then we'll bring it back to the fun. So, whereas sometimes when you train an adult, I need to remember to do that, because a lot of people, I've trained adults and they go, this isn't fun. And I'm like, it's not meant to be fun. We're training, we're getting after it. But that mindset wise, it needs to be fun for everyone, parts of it. But with a kid, it's like, has to be a lot more fun than bad, because a kid can wake up and just go, I'm not going. And then what are you going to do? Like, if you don't want to go, you're not going to do it. Whereas an adult, they're like, all their things in their head are like, my health, my appearance. A kid don't really care. Like, you can't really motivate a kid with health, because they're just like, I'm a kid.
I'm going to live forever.
Yeah, that's how I still feel like that now, to be honest with you.
Me too.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, that's the enjoying it thing for him is definite. I know you've probably seen Sean just sitting down on the couch sometimes on his iPad at the gym. And I was like, whinge to JJ, I've got to get him moving. He's like, no, he comes every time you come. He sits there, he'll do it. And eventually he just gets up and does it now. And he comes in his shorts and he wants to train. Jay was like, he has to want to do it. You can't force him to do it.
That's it. Because I've had that situation as well, where someone's brought me the kids and gone, get them in shape. And you speak to the kid and the kid's just like, I don't want to be here. And you're like, well, look, I can't force you to. I'm not like some army instructor. If you don't want to be here, don't do it. Like, and then you have to have that awkward conversation with a parent, because they thought you could just go, light bulb moment, this is what we're doing. Jay is right on that one. They have to want to. And I think what he did there, where he waited till Sean wanted to do it, that's massive, because then all of a sudden it's the choice is on them instead of the choice being forced upon them. The choice on them, and so then when they start doing it, like, I actually want to be here. I want to do this.
Yeah, no, Sean rang us. Me and Tori had just finished the session, and he rang us to say he was home from school, and I said, just at the gym, I won't be long. And he said, ask Jay if I can train with him. And so I said, Jay, Sean says, can he train with you? He says, well, he won't be able to train with me, but we can definitely train.
Yeah. What did you do, Sean? Do you remember what session you did?
No. I also helped him for the whistle when my dad went to that thing on the side.
Oh, when we was at, you used to help run the classes, didn't you, when we was at Our Ladies?
Yeah.
Nice. Well, they were apparently really busy, so I'd never seen them. I was never there for that. But apparently
when I started with Jay, it wasn't at Our Ladies. It was at the school on Vicky Ave. That's near, do you know the Imperial? Is it the Imperial Lounge, the Indian restaurant on there?
Yes. Yeah.
The school opposite there. And when the day I turned up, there was like me and 6 old women. Like, I think Brenda was there. And
Brenda would have been there. Brenda's always there.
Yeah, and then we moved from there to Our Ladies as it got bigger, and then I moved back to Sale, so I didn't go as much. And then you just see online that the classes are getting bigger and bigger. But they had a load of people from the running club, Walk to Run.
Yes, yeah.
They come across as well. But Jay sent me there as well. That's where I started running, because Jay said, Jay, I'm always out of breath. He said, you need to build your stamina. We've got this running club. It's also £1. So I'll tell him you're coming on Wednesday.
Yeah, so they started bringing you into that, and then it just kind of got busier and busier and busier and busier, I guess.
It's just people from there. Some weeks we'd go from there, there'd be me and another woman, and we'd run on a Wednesday night, and then we'd run from running to do Jay's boxercise class.
Oh, killer. I love that. That would have been killer.
And, but that's how I was like train when I first did train for the marathon, because from starting training with Jay to starting running, it took 1 year, and I ran a marathon.
Wow.
That's amazing.
You love big achievements like that, I want to get.
So I was there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but then by a Friday, because I wasn't eating a lot, I was asleep on the couch straight after work, 6 o'clock in the evening, comatose. And then on Sunday, I'd get up and go and do a long run.
Go again. Yeah.
It was just, but Jay was like, no, you have to start eating a bit more. And
because you've got such a big calorie expenditure there that you're going to need the extra food to get going. I see one thing I noticed, like you have the Ironman. Do you do the Ironman?
I did. 2018, I think it was. Yeah, 2018.
There's a big group of them Ironman people that train in or triathlete people that train in David Lloyd. So I always see them on the swimming and then the bikes, and then they do the thing, and they've all got them same tattoo. And when I seen you, I was like, wow, you've been through something there.
It's Rochdale Tri Club, isn't it? I think that I'd go there a lot.
Yeah, Rivington Tri or Tri Rivington.
Oh, Tri, because you at Bolton one.
Yeah, Bolton.
Yeah. Tri Rivington. Yeah, they're a big, massive Tri Club around there. But yeah, Ironman was tough. That did it out of spite, pretty much. It was all like triggered with my divorce and that, and I just went, do it.
Do you know what? Yeah, this is one thing just on that topic of conversation. How motivating is heartbreak is the most, like, as a man, it's the most motivating thing. I'm not saying I've been through anything crazy, but it makes you want to train so much. Like, I'm sure you can relate to that. Like, it's...
Yeah, I'll tell you the story. So,
tell me.
We got married and everything, and I was who I was, and then I got fat, and then I started losing weight, and I started running marathons, and I said, I just want to run one, and I've ended up doing like 5 now or something, and
wow.
And I did a half Ironman, and then the night after the half Ironman, we was sat in the pub, and I said, I really need to go long just once. I've got to do it. I said, I can definitely. I wasn't everything. I was knackered at it, but I'm sat in the pub in that the same evening. I want to go long, and she got the ump, and then it just all fell apart from there, really. And then I was running the November 2017. I was running Conway Half Marathon, and we was halfway up the Great Orme or whatever it's called around there. And a couple of my mates from Ashton, they run past. Are you doing Ironman this year, Stu? Doing Ironman? You getting booked on Ironman? And I was like, oh, I don't know. My wife said she'll leave me if I do. And one of my other mates went, Stuart, she's already left. And then just as they were running past me, mocking me, and then this old fella, I've never even seen him, probably might not have even been there, just went, get it booked, son, as he was running up the mountain, and booked a payday.
Love that. Absolutely love that.
Trained for 10 to 12 hours a week for 7 months and got it done. Nearly died, but yeah.
And what did you? So I'm a big kind of fan of doing stuff like that, which is just so abnormal. You know, you talk about an Ironman, it's such an abnormal feat of endurance that the average person will never do. So what kind of, when you got into that training day and into that mindset, what was your body like afterwards? Because I always think that, like, doing it's one thing. What did you feel like? What was your body saying?
After or during the actual race?
So during and after, let me know.
Right. During, I was all right. I got out to swim, was all right. The bike, full disclosure, the bike that the year I did it was cut short because of the fires on the on the moors. Wow. So they changed the route so it wasn't the full bike. But so I battered that off, and felt all right. I got off the bike, and I remember saying to my big brother in the week leading up to it, if I get off the bike with 6 hours to go, I can walk a marathon in 6 hours. It's bull. I said, so that's my target. And I got off the bike, came out of transition 2, full change into my running kit. And my brother was stood there with a big smile on his face, waiting for a selfie. He said, "You fucking smashed it." I said, "Why?" He said, "You're definitely going to finish. You told me that if you had 6 hours, you'll finish." I had like 7.5 hours or something to do, just to do the running.
Nice.
And I felt, I started running, and I just remember reading something online, and people were saying, once you get on the run, you've got to like replenish everything, and they give you crisps and flat Coke and energy drinks, and there's a Red Bull stand, and I was at every feed station whacking Doritos in my mouth and energy gels and Coca-Cola and water and electrolyte drinks. Got to the second lap of this marathon, and my stomach didn't feel right, and I ended up throwing up while I was running.
Yeah.
I had to sit on the back of this. I sat on the back of this, like, it's like a van at one of the feed stations on like the tail lift, and I'm sat there and I'm spewing up. And he's a marshal. He's called over some guy from the feed station who was, they might have been from that Trine River, to be honest, and he was giving me water. And the marshal said, and I was just like chucking up bananas and all sorts.
Fully formed food. Like
undigested bananas. The guy said to me, "Do not eat any more solid food. You can't take it in. Your stomach's not accepting it anymore. So just stop that. Have water and an energy drink every time you see me."
Yeah.
And the marshal said to him, "Should I get the amp? Should I get the paramedic?" And I just looked at him and said, "I've got to finish." And he said, "No, give him another couple of minutes." He gave me a water and said, "Just start walking that way." And all my family were there. They said they saw me on the first lap and they were like, "He's killing it. He's all right." And then they said the next time I came round, so only another 6 miles later, he said, "You looked like shit." You looked physically thinner and exhausted. And then it took me about another, it took me another full lap of the circuit to get going again.
And you felt kind of better after that, and you
felt a bit better, but it was still a bit shit. But I felt good when I finished.
Yeah, I bet, man.
And then we ordered. That was like midnight by the time I got my bike back, and
Jesus.
And it was like, Sean had to go and sleep at my mum's, didn't you, Sean?
Yeah.
It's such a huge. Would you ever do something like that again?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that on the cards?
I think I said before I'm 50, I want to do it again. But only because it's like an 38, but only because it's like an asterisk next to the one I've done. And I've got this fucking humongous tattoo on my leg. I don't feel like I fully earned it properly.
You've got to do it, man. You got to do it again. I'd love to do something like that. We're all focusing on powerlifting at the minute.
Yeah.
So me, Badger, Lisa, and Jay. So Jay's got competition in, I want to say August, might be September. I think it's August. He's got a European finals championship because of the last competition he did. He got into that. And me, Badger, and Lisa are competing at the end of May. So we've kind of got 12 weeks until our comp. But in terms of having a thing to train for, I think once you've been going to the gym a while, pick something and go for it. You know, whether it's an endurance challenge like that, whether it's running a marathon, whether it's some sort of boxing. A lot of people do a charity boxing match, whether it's we're doing powerlifting. But having something to direct your training on, because once you kind of go, I love training. Like, so the first bit is, do you enjoy exercise? So you've got to find what you enjoy and get into it. But once you've been training a while, if you don't have something to kind of direct your training towards, it's very kind of tough, I think, then to just train for training's sake. You know,
Yes. I was saying to Badger the other day, a finish line to me is massively important.
Yeah.
Like I find it hard just to get up for it. Like I said it on the last one, I'll say it again, I'm going to bore people, but during the first lockdown, I had to have counselling and I was having on the phone cognitive behavioural therapy.
Okay.
Because I'm a bit of a fucking fruit basket. And that from doing that, I realised that, I can't just train with a finish line. There is no finish line because when I don't exercise, I feel like it and it really affects me mentally. So now I have to go out, and even if I don't feel like it, I go and do something. And that's where going for a run, because I enjoy running, and I know a lot of people hate it, but I can go out for a run. And where I used to think 5K is not enough, I have to train for this marathon, or I've got to go and do a half marathon run today. I just go out now and just do a 5K. Makes me feel loads better, and I think I'll get back into it. Yeah, but I think I'm just going to build from there. But in my mind now, I know that it isn't a case of I'm going to train for a marathon or I'm going to train for this 10K race. I just have to stay healthy for mentally, so I'm not snapping at Sean all the time.
I 100% agree with that. If I don't train, I get so down. Like I can't tell you how much. I always say that, like, if my training's good, my work's good, and if my work's good, my social, like my personal life is good, because I'm confident in the other two. So training definitely affects everything. I can't stand in front of people and be a good PT if I'm not training myself, you know, and I definitely feel the kind of weight of not training. If I don't train, and even just day to day, if I'm like, I can't train today for whatever reason, I've not got time, I'm a little bit weird where I'm like, no, wake up earlier and go and do something, because you'll feel like crap all day, you know. And I think when you get to that point, you know, you need it. You know, it's like medicine. Exercise is like, and good nutrition as well. You know, that's as well very important. But the exercise helps your mind so much, keeps you leveled. You know.
Oh yeah, like Sean can tell you. Sean, what am I like when I don't exercise? If I do, let's say I go for a week where I've not been for a run and thing.
Moody.
Yeah, what happens in the house? I just start shouting all the time for no reason, don't I, Sean?
Yeah.
And Tori's a nightmare. She just said, I'm just going back to my house. She's being a dickhead. And Sean's like, don't leave me here with my dad. He's being a grand. now she just says, sure, there's your trainers, go for a run.
Yeah, and that is how you deal with it. Go on, Sean, sorry.
That when you said, when you see something, when I hear that 5-star whistle in rugby, I know I did a full 90 minutes.
80 minutes.
80 minutes of rugby.
Yeah. Do you feel better then?
Yeah.
Yeah. You've noticed, haven't you, that you need to start training more regular, because especially during these lockdowns where you've not been exercising that much, when you get back to rugby, the first time you was back to rugby, you was throwing up, weren't you, after the first training session, lay on the floor crying. And
so that is success. To me, that is success. If you finish a training session and you're crying and you're dying and then you realise, you're like, wow, I've been through something.
It's not success when your dad's a psychopath stood on the touchline throwing water bottles at you, though, telling you to get up before the coach is looking at you. That's not success in front of your mates, is it?
But you know what? It's a good start position. So it can only get better from there, right? Like, I trained this woman. Sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say, you killed it. And he said after that day, I'm not missing another training session all season. And he started going rugby 3 times a week and coming Jays with us and all that. And
amazing,
seeing it. Yeah.
You know what though? That can go one or two ways. So you either would have scared him off and he never would have gone back to rugby, or he wanted it and used it as motivation. So that's definitely good. I had a similar situation with a new client not that long ago. I went to see her, trained her, and we were doing like some mountain climbers and some other stuff. And she, she was fairly in shape, like not too bad. And she threw up in her back garden all over the wall, and it was so bad. And it was the first time I'd met her as well, so I was like, oh my god. And she threw up everywhere. And I kind of sat down with her afterwards, and I was like, how'd you feel? And she was like I don't know, I don't know what happened. And blah, blah, blah. And I just said, right, it can only get better from here. And then every time I see her and she looks a bit weak, I'm like, oh, you're gonna throw up again, we're back to day one. And you just use it as motivation, but you'd be surprised when you're not exercising how much of a shock to your system exercise can be. It can be very, very intense, very, very shocking to your system.
Yeah, I did it. It was a while ago now, but I do a track session with my running coach. He does a like a track-based session, and it's brutal. It's like 800 meters or like pyramids, and where you start off with like a mile and work your way down and then work your way back up. It's brutal. And I'd not been for a while, and he was just laughing. Oh, you're coming back, have you? Sure? I said, yeah, I've been running on the road. I should be all right. But then when you're sprinting, it's a big shock. And we got to near the end, and I was lay on the grass, and he's like, right, everyone, we're not stopping until she's sick. I only lasted about another 3 sets, and I was done. And barfing everywhere, all on the Simply Athletics track. And
it's amazing. It's amazing. And I think, it can scare people a little bit when you show them but also what your body's capable of, because you can do that and then wake up the next day and go right back after it. But people are so scared of getting to a point of discomfort. I think everything in the world is made for your comfort. So that your car, when you sit in your car, when you sit in, you watch a movie, you go around, like everything's made for convenience and comfort, and training's the opposite. The more kind of uncomfortable it is, usually the more beneficial it is. So if you can kind of show someone that you're going to be really uncomfortable for an hour, but then you're going to go home and you're going to have your protein shake, you're going to have your meal, and you're going to feel fine, and you do that over and over again, and it has a great impact on your mind, has a great impact on your social stuff, it has a great impact on your confidence. But you have to suffer, you have to go through that horrible kind ofness for a little short period of time, controlled, to actually feel better afterwards. But when people start feeling like they're burning the legs, or their abs are sore, their chest is tight, they're like, no, I don't want to do it, because they're not conditioned for feeling uncomfortable. You know, everyone wants to feel very comfortable.
Yeah. The weight training with me, when I do weights, it's the days after that I can't stand, and it just hurts. I've had days where I can't move my arms properly, and then I'm booking with Jay, and I'm like, Jay, I can't move my arms. He's like, so? And then he puts me on the squat rack, and he says, you're not using your arms, squat this. I'm like, oh.
You'll get no sympathy. Yeah. Even if you're injured, I'll go and see him. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, this is my injury, whatever I've got. And he'll just be like, so? I don't care. Work around it. But it kind of is right. Like if one area is sore, you know, it's just DOM, so it's just delayed onset. So it's just muscle soreness, right? So if you're like, right, my upper body's killing, you can either go, so I'm not going to train, or you're going to be like, right, so I'm going to train my legs. And then maybe the next day I'll do cardio. And then the day after that, my upper body's not sore anymore. So you're kind of constantly in pain. I always say that to people. When you're training regular, it's like there's like a numb pain everywhere all the time. And it just keeps going. And then take a week off, but then you feel like crap, right? So you got to get right back after it.
You take a week off, and then your DOMs they don't get any better. They're just a nightmare.
The worst, if anything. If I take a week off and then go and train, like it's the worst, man. When you've not trained for a little while and you go and push a heavy session and you're like, oh my God, what is this? Your body's just like, what? Yeah. We're really selling it. Yeah, these people ain't going to exercise.
Well, the whole series of you lot is called Get Fit, Stay Fit. And that's because of how I am. I was speaking to a woman who I cycle with, and I said, I don't know why I do it to myself. She said, what? I said, I can get fit. I said, I can get fit for a marathon. I can get fit for Ironman. I can get fit for a triathlon. Somebody says to me, Stuart, you've got a boxing match in 15 weeks or something. And I'd be like, right, I will get fit for that. And I will just do it. But then after that, after Ironman, I don't think I moved for about 6 months.
Yeah.
I just went, but Ironman, I don't need to do anything. I had nothing else. And like I ran a marathon one year, and the marathon was in April. And I remember thinking to myself, what am I meant to do for the rest of the year?
Wow. So you're a kind of goal-orientated person, and
yeah.
So what I would definitely say for if I was dealing with someone like yourself as a client, you've got to literally do your goal, whatever the goal is, set a goal and achieve it. Whether it, like you say, it's training for a specific thing, or it's to get down to a certain weight, or it's to whatever it is. Do that goal, achieve it. Take 1 week off, but in that week off, set another goal. So if you have a boxing match and it takes you 12 weeks to train for it, you do the boxing match. Say you win or you get beat up. Regardless, yeah, you take a week off to either celebrate or lick your wounds, and then you have another conversation. And you say, look, what do you want to achieve next? Because if you compete in anything, it's an achievement. Not win. If you compete in anything, it's an achievement. Because a lot of people will never put themselves in a position where they can be embarrassed or humiliated, or they can lose. No one wants to lose anything. So if you can put yourself in a position where you are open to that, you're also putting yourself in a position where you're open to success. So for instance, if you sign up to a marathon and you tell everyone, I'm doing a marathon, and you go and you can't complete it, I still feel like you've succeeded. You've still succeeded because you put yourself in a position to go and do something that's very, very tough. And then take a week off and then look at it. How did you feel? Did you get anything out of that on a personal level? Do you want to try it again? Or you went and did the marathon and you absolutely smashed it. Now, what we're going to do next, maybe you can go and do this or that, or you're going to do Ironman next, or you're going to do this. And if you keep setting them goals for yourself, it gives you a good focus for your training, but it doesn't have to be an event. It could be something like my mum's getting married in August, yeah. my mum doesn't really like exercising, and she definitely doesn't like eating healthy. Yeah, she loves a biscuit. She doesn't eat loads of like takeaways or anything like that. But my mum can eat, like, my mum can see a pack of biscuits, yeah, with a cup of tea and see it down. So my mum's whole thing is like, all right, I've got this thing in the future. My mum's never going to do a sporting event, but she's got a wedding, or if she's not got a wedding, we'll just make something up. So we'll say, right, we're going to have a family get together on this date. So let's work towards that. We're going to do this on this date. It doesn't have to be a big staged up show. It can be something, could be something small, you know. But set them little markers. So you go, right, I've got 6 weeks to do this. And then every single day counts. And then I find before and after pictures help a lot as well. Because if you can show someone what they look like currently, or what they look like in so 6 months ago you look like this and now you look like this, when you're thinking, oh, do you know what, I've got nothing to train for, if I show you that picture, you're like, I've not got nothing to train for, but I definitely don't want to look like that again. So this is why we're here, you know, and you don't want to give up on that. And also people, when you're training, they're going to be complimenting you. They're going to be interested in what you're doing because you're doing something. The transformation's the sickest thing because it's that what everyone wants. Being in shape, no one's bothered. If you're in shape, people aren't coming up to Reno and going, wow, you're in such great shape. He's already in shape. That's who he is as an individual. But the transformation is so powerful. So if you can show someone the difference they make, whenever I get clients, I always take a picture of them on day one. I measure them, I weigh them, and I kind of video their training a little bit as well. And then it might take, say, 3 months, 12 weeks, whatever it is. And I'll take another picture of them and I'll weigh them. And I'll weigh them weekly, really, but I'll measure them and stuff like that. And I'll show them. And they might be like, do you know what? I'm not really sure about this, And I'll be like, look what we've done though. And I'll show them doing a set of like 10 press ups. And I'll show them at the start, they can't do 2 on their knees. And it's like, look, at you might not think on this day at this time, you've not done nothing, but look at the difference. So I have loads of pictures on my phone of random people, yeah, that are just like overweight people where they've come for a session and then whatever reason it's not worked out. So you end up with like all this backlog of content. But if every single person just seen the difference a month could make or 2 months could make, I think that would actually change their perception on it and it'd make them keep doing it, you know. And that is the staying fit part of it, seeing how far you've come, you know.
Yeah, well, my staying fit part is I've given up on trying to look great. I'm old now, and this is how I like to feel good, and it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter. I've got a bit of a belly, and I'm happy with it. I'm happy the way I am now, but I like to be able to know I can go for a run or I can go and go at the gym, and I feel better for it, and it makes me feel better, and I concentrate better at work, and I do all that the good stuff. So
it's the lifestyle stuff, isn't it? Like the daily fitness stuff. Like I bet if you go for a walk or you go and even just walking up your stairs, people always say that to me, like, oh, when I walk up my stairs, I feel better, or I get out of bed and I've got more energy. They're very, very important things in terms of how you feel about yourself. You know, if you walk up your stairs and you're gasping for breath at the top of the stairs, how can you feel confident in your abilities as a human? You know, if you can.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's massive, man. Yeah, lifestyle. Definitely lifestyle.
For me. And it makes you sleep better, and that always makes me feel better.
You know what? Sleep. When you're training and you're training, like you're going into your training and then you have the best night's sleep and you wake up, that's when you're recovering. All that time when you're asleep, you're recovering, your body's kind of repairing muscle, and sleep and a lot of protein as well. People neglect protein.
I don't know. I can't do all that. But right, so we've got a bit of a deep one right at the end now. How can we combat childhood obesity? I put that question in there because I know you train a lot of kids in that, and I've got a kid, but
100%. I think definitely let them try lots of different types of exercise. You know, people will sort of say, I'm not interested in this or I'm not interested in that. Let them try all different stuff. So if you've got a kid now and you take them football, I wasn't naturally. Oh, sorry, Pop.
It's all right.
There we go. So I wasn't naturally athletic as a young person. I wasn't like, you know, first picked on a football team or something like that. So if you took me to a group of lads playing football, I wouldn't necessarily have enjoyed that. Now, if you would have stopped there, I might never have even got into training. So you've got to do loads of different stuff. You know, take them to loads of different clubs. If you're talking about young kids, the parents just take them to anything you can and see what they stick with. So if you take a kid and they go football and they don't like it, don't force the football. Just go, all right, no worries. Let's take you and try this. Let's take you and try this. And all of a sudden, like I did a karate class when I was 9. From being 9 till 12, I did about 3 years of karate class. And I mean, I was so into it. I was like, I had the gi, the suit on with a belt and the hands, everything. So I did that for years and years and years. And then I got to a certain age and I kind of outgrown it. Not because I was the best at karate or anything, just because I was in high school and I was like, I'm not doing that anymore. I want to do this. And then there was about a year or two where I wasn't really doing anything training wise. And all my friends were playing football and I'd play with them at lunchtime, but it wasn't my passion. So then I got a bit older and I wanted to do kickboxing and I wanted to try boxing. And so let them try absolutely everything, find what sticks. And then once it sticks, be the rock for that kid. So if my little brother starts something and he comes home, if he genuinely doesn't want to go because he doesn't like it, fair enough. But if he's coming home and he's like, oh, I'm just going to play on Xbox, nah, you're going, you're going and give them that kind of stability of, this is what happens. We train every day. So my little brother knows if I come home and I've got a gap in the middle of the day, I come home and I'll take him for a run, or I'll take him to train in the garden, or we'll do a little bit of boxing together or something, so that he knows that is part of his life. And if you can find a love of training, that's one half of it. The other half is just making sure that the diet is reasonable. So it doesn't have to be some athlete's diet, but you have to be able to kind of control the amount of fast food they're getting. It's so accessible. If you walk down the street, I always say this to people, you can get food 24 hours a day. You can get pizza delivered at 3 a.m. or 3 p.m. now. You can get it all day. So just make sure we're limiting that. And I think if you can get them two things, limit the junk food and find a love of exercise, I think that is literally all you need to do. Because if you love training, it's not going to be a chore. It's not going to be a thing. It's just going to be part of your daily life. And I definitely think in school as well, making sure that there's enough different kind of varied classes for them to get involved in. I think fitness classes should be a bigger part probably of schools in terms of after school and what they can offer. And if you've got a gym in a local area of a school, I think going in that school and doing talks, if you've got a gym in a local area and there's some schools in that area, making sure them kids know that your gym's accessible. Obviously with J7, all the kids in that area know that they can come to J7. They know that there's a certain time of day that's kind of for them, and that the trainers will help them out, and that they've free reign to do whatever they feel like doing. But a lot of gyms, I guess kids don't really feel like they can go. They think it's a place for adults. So I think the gym owners sort of going and saying, look, this is a community gym. This is on offer for you guys. And if you want to come in here, you're more than welcome to, especially now that the kids are going back to school as well. I think it'll be a good time as the kids are back in school for a month. They get social again. And then the gym's open. I think that's a great time just before summer for these kind of kids to get into it. So I think hopefully this summer it'll be a big, big kind of positive time for everyone getting in shape and everyone kind of getting.
He's muted himself. Yeah, when you say like what sticks, you don't know, looks fine. When you say do what sticks, we tried. Sean really wanted to play football as a kid. He really wanted to be a goalie, didn't you, Sean?
Yeah.
He used to walk around in the full goalie kit all the time, and even now he still wears AstroTurf trainers rather than normal trainers, and
nice.
He just loved. But we tried football, but he had, as a little kid, he had severe, communication difficulties. Obviously, everyone knows he doesn't talk very well now. So when he was 5 and 6, he didn't stand up for himself, and he wanted to be in goals. And I just got fed up with paying a £5 for him at football, and the coach is not helping him.
Yeah.
And letting other kids mouth off at him when he was in goal and making a mistake and things like that. When if you just give him some encouragement, he could have been a good goalie. But so 100%. Rugby, he said, I'm not going to, when he went to high school, I'm not going to try football. I'm going to try rugby. And now we have a little agreement, don't we, Sean, every season?
Yeah.
What's the agreement, Sean? Can you remember?
Chippy on Wednesdays.
We have a chippy on a Wednesday after training. As long as you know your homework and you go training twice a week, you can have a chippy on a Wednesday after training. But the other agreement is if you start the season, you finish the season.
Perfect. Perfect.
And every time he says, I don't want to go to rugby now, I say, well, what are you going to do on a Sunday and a Wednesday to make up for those 3 hours of exercise that you're not doing? Tell me what you want to do, and that's what we'll go and do. So he knows. And that's how I know then as well that he just wants to play on his Xbox. Because if he says, oh, I don't know what to play on my Xbox, that's what he wants to do. But that's not happening on a Sunday and a Wednesday.
Yeah, 100%. So you've put something in place there where if it was that he genuinely didn't like rugby, he'd pick something else.
Yeah.
But if it's just that he can't be bothered exercising, that's not happening. So
No.
you're his rock in that situation. That's perfect. And that's what I think a lot of young people need, someone to kind of go, look, we need to do this twice a week. If you don't want to do this, you're doing something else, but we're doing something. And then you'll find out, actually, I kind of like rugby because I don't want to go and do nothing else. Like, that's the thing. And you'll get so much out of that in terms of their social, in terms of their confidence, in terms of, everything that surrounds it. Like you're being part of a team or you're being part of a group of people that are interested in a certain thing. And then once you put it on that and not about, right, this kid's obese, he needs help. Once you put it on that, you're turning it from this negative situation of this kid's obese and needs help, or all these kids are obese and need help, to this activity is fun and enjoyable and my friends do it and I want to be there with them. And if you can just get that, all of a sudden, weight's not an issue. If you got a young man and he's playing rugby, 2-3 times a week, and he's going to the gym and he's being involved in PT sessions and whatever else, it's very difficult for that young man to be obese because you're just doing so much, between that and school and everything else. The young people, they got quick metabolisms, the bodies don't want to hold on to all that fat anyway. It's literally the kids who are sitting at home doing nothing and they're just eating junk and they're sitting and doing nothing. And there's no one there to kind of say, this is wrong. You don't need to be doing this. You need to be focused on this. And a kid won't pick that themselves because the body just wants to do what's easier. So when he's saying, I don't want to go rugby or whatnot, yeah, because your body's like, oh, I can't bother with this. What are you going to make me run around the field for throw a ball? Why would I do that?
Yeah, in the rain.
Yeah, in the rain, in the snow, in the cold. I've just saying this actually. It's sunny now. Like the last 2 days have been sunny. The worst months, I think, for training are January and February. Because Christmas is over. You kind of might have put on some pounds of Christmas and you're like, wow, it's cold and it's minging. But March has just come and the sun's come out and it's like, that's motivating. That is motivating.
I would rather train in the winter.
Really? Are you a winter?
Oh, only because, right, I know if I start the year, like just January comes, I know if I can go and get my runs in or my bike rides in when it's minging,
yeah,
I can do it in March and April and May.
Easy.
Because I want to be outside then. I don't want to be outside in January.
No.
So that year when we did Ironman, my mate was like, January, we're going for a bike ride. And I'd turn on, we'd have massive gloves on our road bikes, full length bib shorts, a jacket, a box around our faces,
everything.
And just like pissing down rain. And we had to go and cycle up Alderley Edge. And he's like, oh, it's good, isn't it, Stu? And I'm like, yeah, thanks. But then as you get to like May and we're going for 70-mile bike rides, it's beneficial.
Yeah, and then you're there out and it's a sunny day, you put a t-shirt on and you cruise out, you're like, wow, this is a blessing, So like you say, if you can build the resilience in the cold months, the summer's easy, really. No one can, everyone, you see this, watch now over the next few weeks, everyone out on runs. I promise you, you'll be driving your car and see people that never ran before, just living down the road, just enjoying it. Because the sun makes people want to move, right? But having the discipline when it's cold to kind of do it, and then you're in the sun, you're enjoying it, and then you just keep it going, keep it ticking over, man. Like you were saying, if you don't have something to train for, you might not feel motivated. But so long as you go and do that little 5K or that little half an hour or that little exercise class or that little whatever, literally a swimming session, whatever it is, yeah. So long as you do that, you're ticking the box. And that is how you stay in a good place in your mind and in your health and your body. Just go and tick the box. Some weeks you're going to be feeling like an absolute animal and you want to go and beat the world and take over. And some weeks you just tick the box. But so long as you do something, that's the main thing.
Yeah. We've got to tick a box tonight at 8 o'clock when I run with my brother. He's got a challenge where he's running 5K a day every day in March for Mind. I told him it's going to be brutal, but he works in Hale Barnes in a care home, and he's running to my mum's. So I'm going to get dropped off at his work and run back with him. So he's not doing it on his own. But it helps me as well because I'm more inclined to go out if somebody's running with me.
Yeah, and then challenges, just one thing as well. Them monthly challenges are amazing. So some of my friends, they'll do that where they'll do like a little who can do the most steps. And it gets a bit sick where I seen some guy, one of my people today, and he did 32,000 steps, and I was like, what was that in like a week? Or because I'm not a big step person. Like I'll go and train. I like my training, but when you're a PT, you're just standing around a lot of the time. And he done 32,000 steps. I said, what was that like? A couple of days over the weekend? And he was like, nah, that was this morning. And I was like, whoa, people get so competitive.
Was it Denton?
No, not him. Jesus, he does a lot. No, he was so
mental, isn't he?
But, he's always out, man. I see him just doing like 24-mile runs, craziness. He's an animal, mate. He's
Have you seen that thing he's got where he showed me 100,000 steps on his Fitbit in a day? I said, what did you do, Denton? He said, I ran to Blackpool.
Really?
I said, why? He said, I just started running and then I was at Blackpool.
That's crazy, man.
He's got about
on him.
Mental,
he's got some gas tank. And do you know what? But he was a fighter though, so he's kind of got.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he misses it. I think he misses like the daily grind. I mean, I seen him in the J7 gym, and he was like, I said, "Well, you've been skipping for half an hour." He said, "I know, I've still got another half an hour to go." And I was like, "Oh my god!"
Because there's nothing like people like that. They're just absolute cardio machines, and mentally, they're on a different level. Like I love training, but I love training for the hour I'm doing it. Like people that can just go all day, they scare me, man, because they're on a different fuel source. I swear they're running on a different fuel source. But if you can kind of I always think, right, do your half an hour and enjoy it and it's done with. But them kind of people, they wake up in the morning and they're just like nothing else. They can't do nothing else. They don't think about nothing else. Crazy, man.
I'm going to walk to Blackpool today.
That's heavy, man. I can't.
60 miles, whatever it is.
That's not me, man. I'll do my little 5K. I'll do my little run. And I come back and I'm always like, I've been on a run, put it on Insta.
Yeah.
That's it, man. That's enough for me on the running front. But no, I do love it. I do love that type of training, man. I love running and a boxing session. I like putting them two together. So I'll do my running, I'll do a bit of boxing, even just shadow boxing, some abs, skipping, whatever, that kind of a session. And then on a weight training day, I'll just do the weight training. I like to mix it up like that. For a lot of people as well, I would just say like vary the type of workouts you do. If you do the same type of workout every time, you're going to get a bit bored of it. Just make sure you give yourself enough variation. So you've got a few different stimuluses that you like to do in. And one of them is walking. Just going for a nice walk. That's a perfect one. Burn a lot of calories doing that. People neglect it.
Tori makes us do it when we're on holiday.
Really? Just get out and walk.
And we have to have Tori and Sean have to have an agreement where one day we'll go for a walk, one day we can sit by the pool. Because when me and Sean just go on holiday together, I'm happy to let Sean splash about in the water and I'll just sit there, podcast on, beer.
Chill time.
Yeah. I like
she
that,
wants
read a book, whatever.
So she wants to get out and walk.
Oh, she wants to go and explore everywhere, yeah.
But that's good for you, man. You need that yin and yang. That yin and yang.
It is good, yeah.
It makes the sitting by the pool more enjoyable.
Why does you punch them fast bags? I've been watching him on YouTube. He's punching people in the stomach hard.
I've seen that, Sean. I've seen Ryan Garcia now. Did you see his last fight?
Yeah, against Luke Campbell.
Yeah, amazing, man. So he got dropped, didn't he? He got dropped, I think it was in the second round or the third round. And then he came back in like the 6th or 7th and he body shotted him. But he always does that body shot drill where they hold the like the big pad and he just peppers the life out of the pad until the guy falls over. Yeah. But he did it to, who did he do it to? Do you know who Francis Ngannou is? Like a UFC fighter. And Ngannou just didn't move. Peppering the life out of him. The guy did not move. But he's supposed to be fighting Tank. What's Tank's name? Gervonta Davis. Gervonta Davis, yeah. They're supposed to be having a little thing. That'll be a great fight. I don't know.
I'm waiting for Tyson AJ.
Oh, come
AJ
on.
Tyson will kill each other.
Come on, that's gonna be such a. Who do you have in that fight?
AJ every day.
You think AJ is gonna win that one with Fury? Talk to me about your prediction.
Knockout in the last round.
Knockout in the last round. That's a serious way that could end. I hope we see it this year. Man. I think it's one of them fights like the Mayweather-Pacquiao thing where you kind of want it to happen and they just keep putting it off and putting it off.
It has to happen while they're both in the prime.
It needs to happen, man. It's the biggest. It's the biggest British heavyweight title fight ever. It's got to be the biggest, man. Like, Fury looked ridiculously good in that last fight with Wilder, like scarily good. But I liked how AJ looked though against Ruiz the second time when his footwork was better, his movement was better. I think Fury will win. Personally, I think he's just an elite boxer. I think he's the best heavyweight boxer in the world. I think he's elite. I think his head movement's ridiculous for the size of him. And apparently he's got power. I never really thought he had that much power. But what he did to Wilder, it was so clever because no one's ever backed Wilder up like that. He just kind of walked him down. And you got to think Wilder's got that record. He's got 40 KOs, 42. So some ridiculous record, yeah. So he can kill you. He's got that touch of death.
Everyone's always a bit scared of it, aren't they? And they always give him Fury, rather than giving him the space to unleash it, he was just on him all the time.
On him. Go on.
The fight before that, he fought Luis Ortiz, Wilder, and was probably getting beaten in that fight, and then just uncorked one on his forehead and knocked him clean out.
And that the sweat just sprayed off his head, and he just fell back, and it was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
But the fact that Fury went forward and put him on the back foot, and Fury he came in heavy. And he was punching him even on the arms, and he was hitting him, and Wilder was going over here, and he's hitting him, and he's going over there, and you think, wow, that is raw power. And I think his legs went a little bit, and he got hit in the air or something, and he was all off balance. But that Fury against Joshua, because Joshua can pack on the muscle. Joshua's huge, so you think about them two fighting each other. I'm so excited for that one. That's such a big fight. And
why are they watching that? Why are they watching that jokes?
Do you think Joshua will fight Wilder
soon?
Do you think that before Fury or Fury Joshua first?
Fury Joshua first, and then the winner might fight Wilder.
The winner's gonna fight Wilder.
Louis got super excited and throwing his phone across the room.
Don't get too excited, man.
But I think Fury will outbox him as well. I think he'll outbox him, he'll outmove him, and he'll outbox him.
Yeah.
You need to remember, Justin he started in the Olympics. Tyson didn't have that experience in the Olympics. What Joshua they have?
No, you're right. Joshua's amazing, man. I think both of them are the best we've got at the minute in terms of athletes. Like they're incredible, man. And I think it'll be a great fight, and I think it'll be a very unusual fight in the terms of, like, you look at styles, yeah. Well, Joshua has got the style where he can box and move, but he's also got the style where he comes to bang, right? But Fury had the style where he can box and move, and then last fight he came to bang. So you don't know which version you're gonna get for that opponent, because each of them can bring out different sides of each other, and they're both giants as well. They're both huge people. Oh, it's amazing, man. That's the most exciting sporting event for me that could happen hopefully over the next 12 months, or as soon as we can see that.
I'm excited to see the Dillian White fight.
Who's he going to fight next?
That same guy who
Povetkin.
Yeah.
Oh, so he got beat. He got dropped with an uppercut, right? Beautiful uppercut one.
He's fighting him again to get his mandatory back.
Wow, so he's going to rematch him, and I feel a bit bad for him, man, because he's kind of been there the whole time, but not had his shots and whatnot, because of whether it's politics or whether it's just
mandatory for over 12 months, wasn't
it? And I hate that, because it's like, if you've earned it, you've got to get that opportunity, man. You've got to. And the thing is with heavyweight boxing, it's so unpredictable. Like, as you've seen with the Andy Ruiz fight with Joshua and whatnot, once you get that opportunity, you're in a heavyweight boxing match, anything can happen. These guys are monsters, killers. They can knock each other out so easily that if you've got a mandatory title fight, you've really got a big opportunity to actually be the heavyweight champion of the world. And if that's taken away from you, it's a little bit like, it's unfair. I think it is massively unfair. So if he beats Povetkin, then he gets that mandatory back, and then he'll fight, hopefully.
I think so, yeah. I think it's WBA mandatory, but I don't know how it all works. Weird done it in boxing. They've all got different things.
Oh, boxing's crazy, man. There's all sorts of different. That's why you don't see the fights that you want to see, because you've got all these different promotions with the different belts, and they're like, we've got this one, you've got that one. You want 40%, we want 60%, and then mate, it just gets messy. Whereas, like, I don't know whether you guys watch UFC, but the beautiful thing about the UFC is that you get to see the best fights, because they kind of go, well, you're all our fighters. You can fight you. There's no politics. It's one organization, which you get to see some great fights in the UFC. I mean, UFC is crazy. Like,
yeah, I love it.
Next level.
Big weekend this weekend, UFC.
Who's fighting this weekend?
You've got Jan Blachowicz fighting Adesanya. Adesanya is stepping up to 205 to try and go double champ. Nunes is fighting someone, and
Nunes is
and Peter Yan's defending against Aljamain Sterling.
Aljamain Sterling, is he a lightweight? Aljamain
Sterling? They pop a little. They like whatever Henry Cejudo was. Yeah, with the fade out kid and play cut.
Yeah, with the temperature haircut. So, so Adesanya's going up to fight for the 205 title.
Yeah.
Did you hear the talk about him fighting John Jones?
That's why he wants to go up to 205, because John Jones has gone up to heavyweight, and he wants that belt, and then you'll say to John Jones, come and get it back.
Super fight. That is a super. And Adesanya, I think, is arguably one of the best strikers in there right now. He's
he's
so
a kickboxing champion, isn't he?
So good. Yeah, he's such a beast, man. Like, and he's had a lot of stand-up experience before the UFC, and he's coming there, and he just showed a different. They're elite strikers, man, and they're on a completely different level to the standard like striking. You can see the accuracy, the precision, the timing, the movement, the footwork. It's crazy, man. And if he fights John Jones, that's a big fight. That is a big.
I'll stay up late for that one and not get up early in the morning to watch it. I'll stay up.
I do that as well. I can't cope when they're on so late. Yeah, I can't have my sleep affected. So I'll try and stay off social media, and I'll wake up in the morning and I'll watch it all. But you always get people text you, "Oh my god, have you seen?" And you're like, "Oh."
Yeah, well, me and my mate, when the pubs were open, we'd record them on the Sunday night, and then my next day off, we'd say we'll start early, and then we'll go to the pub afternoon.
Yeah.
Have a few drinks, come back, a few more drinks while it's on. And it just ends up messy as fuck. Anyway, 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm leaving my house.
Yeah, it messes everything up, man. They're on too late.
Yeah.
Do you think Khabib would have fight next?
Khabib retired.
No, he said who win out that fight, that last fight with Conor.
That Dustin Poirier. Do you know what I think, yeah? I think if Conor would have won that fight, Khabib would have come out of retirement and said, go on then, I'll have it with you again. But Conor lost, didn't he? So I don't know whether he'll come out to fight whoever.
Poirier nearly beat him last time.
Yeah, so Poirier's already lost to it. Khabib's on a different level, man. I think Khabib is on a completely different level.
Too good, doesn't he? Wrestles too good. Right, have you got time for one more question off Sean?
No, of course, man. Go.
Sean, number 3.
I am leaving school soon. What can I do after to help me get into sports or fitness industry?
So industry.
So in terms of being in that industry, is it to be a trainer or
like a coach? He says he wants to be, don't you, Sean?
Yeah.
So I don't know whether he can do that. Well, Jay says he can do anything he wants, bro. Which he can. Yeah. But like even just to get a job in a gym or something like that, because he's doing a BTEC sports now. I think he's about to get a level 2 pass in his BTEC sports thing.
He's in school, and then is that going to be at college when you're doing your BTEC sports?
He's doing it now at school.
And then, so are you going to college, Sean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you go, what I would say is just be very specific about what you choose to study at college. So I only went to college for this sounds really bad. I only went to college for about a month because I picked subjects that I wasn't really passionate about or interested in. I just went because my friends were going. I wanted to do what everyone else was doing. So I definitely say be very specific about you choices at college and what you choose to study. So if you're passionate about sport, you know, choose stuff that's going to be relatable to sport, because it's easy to study stuff that you're already interested in. It's very difficult for me to sit there and study like some, like, I don't know, English literature. I'm just not going to do it. Like, I just can't. My brain just goes no. But if you sit me down and want to talk about nutrition or exercise or training, or I can sit there and I can listen to podcasts, I can read books about it, because I'm passionate about it. So if you're passionate about sport, definitely study based on that passion, so it's easy to study. And then be around the gym. You'll learn so much just from being around people that are in a like-mindedness to you. So the more time you can spend around them type of people whilst you're studying, the better. So if you're around people that are interested in what you're wanting to go into as a career, potentially, then it's going to make it so much easier to make that transition, because the stuff that you're thinking about doing, they may have already done, or they might know people that can help. So just be around the gym as much as you can, because you're going to be around positive people anyway, and definitely pick subjects to study that are going to be relatable to the career that you want to go into in regards to sport and stuff like that. And then just stay with it, man. Just keep training as well, because the training links so strong to what you're passionate. So if you're training and then you're coming home and you're listening to podcasts about it, then when you've got to go in and sit an exam about sport, it's already up there. It's already, you know it, you're living it, you know, you're living that lifestyle. And you've got an amazing journey ahead of you. How old are you now, Sean?
16.
16, man. So you got to think over the next couple of years, you'll start to form your idea about what you want your life to be in terms of careers, in terms of your hobbies and everything else. So just keep training there, because it'll help you out so much. Even if you was to become a doctor or anything, still keep the exercise there, because it'll help you calm, it'll help your mind stay calm, it'll help your confidence, it'll help your happiness. And then from that point on, that's your base of everything else. So anything you do, if you're feeling confident and happy, everything's going to be easier, right? You know. So I'd say train, study specifically to what you're interested in, and be around people that are doing what you already kind of want to do.
Answer your question, Sean.
Yeah.
Perfect. Right, Louie, we've done well over an hour now. So thanks for coming on. But before we go, tell everyone where that they can find you on social media, so they can follow your journey and book you and get you money in that.
Thank you, man. So social media, I'm really big on my Instagram. That's the main thing I use. So it's just Louie, Louie_Hartley, Hartley, and it'll say like Louie Hartley PT. My page is open, so anyone can come and have a look at that. Facebook, it's just my name, Louie Hartley. And they're the two kind of platforms I use the most. And then I'll post workout videos on there. I'll post my training, what I'm doing, client transformation. So anyone who wants to get in touch with me or wants advice, you know, people message me on there a lot. So anyone who wants to get in touch with me, definitely Instagram is the one for me.
Not Snapchat. He's gone. He's paused it.
That's not podcast material, man. Don't do that to me.
No, yeah, we'll put your Instagram thing at the end of the video and everything, and in the show notes, so everyone can just click it and find you.
Yeah, man, perfect. Thanks so much, and thank you for having me on, man, and chatting to me. I appreciate it.
No worries. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, man, all good. I'll catch up with you soon, then. Yeah.
See you in a bit, mate.
Peace.
Sean, say bye.
Bye.
See you later, Sean.
Do you like that, Sean?
Yeah.
It's a good one, that one. We've gone a bit longer there. It's normal, but it doesn't matter. We'll cut it down a bit as best we can, but we'll get it out. So, what are you going to say to the people? Keep training.
Keep training. Who do rugby, keep going down and training. And stay active. Stay active.
Whatever part of exercise makes you happy, just keep doing that, and make sure you do it a couple of times a week, and then everybody will be better off. Eat right and all that. But so, where can people find us, Sean?
Twitter at Dazzle
Pod.
Insta at Dazzle Pod. Facebook group at Dads and Lads.
It's Dads and Lads, the podcast on Facebook group, yeah. And then email dadsandladspod@gmail.com. Go and follow Louie at Louie_Hartley, I think he said it was. But we'll put the link to that in the show notes. So, yeah. Everybody.
Listen to the podcast tomorrow. Watch the video tomorrow. It's Badgers one.
That's not tomorrow. That's last week now, Sean. That
last week.
Yeah, there's 3 of these videos or 4 of these videos going to be. Yeah, so they're going to be a full series where we're going to try and speak to different people and get different perspectives on exercise. But so until next time, take care and be good.
See you on Thursday.